Good afternoon, and welcome to BBC Two.
Hello and welcome to Back to the 80s, the podcast that travels back through time in a rose-tinted DeLorean. Yes, folks, we recorded another one. We did another one because you just can't stop us. No, you can't stop me hopping in the nostalgia TARDIS and stealing someone away and taking them back to the 80s. Last week it was Mr. Tony Thrustle with Star Trek The Next Generation, a podcast I wanted to go through all the time. Star Trek The Next Generation, but I don't think you would have been happy, even though Adam Buxton is a fan, but never mind. Something different this week, something about as different to The Next Generation as you can get, and joining me this week is the lady who suggested it. You know her, you've heard her before on Nova Beacon. It is, of course, my colleague Leigh.
Hello.
Hello, my colleague, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Got through London okay?
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously this might be a couple of weeks old when we actually, put it up on the website and everything. But London had a bit of a I won't say a bomb because it wasn't a bomb. It was an IED, really. Somebody put a whole big bucket of explosives in a little bag, no less, on the tube because, arseholes and that. So yeah, obviously I don't know. Were you anywhere near it?
No, it was Wimbledon way.
Ah, right, because this was in Parsons Green, wasn't it?
Yeah, Wimbledon way. Right out there.
Got you. I know, it's like 29 people were injured, thankfully no fatalities or anything like that, but we are now in a critical state.
And we've got Donald Trump mansplaining to read.
Yeah, well, he's got enough on his plate, he should shut up.
I know.
He's got North Korea to deal with, which he ain't doing, because, no, why should we deal with it? China's got to deal with it. For God's sakes, man. Deal with it.
He was going to, and then when he realised what it meant, he suddenly backed off.
Yeah, funny that. Ugh. Anyway, the world's a bit of a mess, so we're going to go back to when the world was even messier this week. We're going to be talking about the 1982 to 1984 series, The Young Ones. Seminal? I think seminal.
Yes, definitely.
Sort of brought alternative comedy to the masses, I guess.
BBC brought it forward in because comic strip, the comic strip was doing so well on Channel 4 and the 80s BBC says, I want some of that.
Yeah, I want some of that sweet alternative comedy cash, even though they didn't really have an idea of what it was about, but we'll come to that in a second. Other than sort of not being near terrorist incidents, what else have you been up to this week?
Been out in the woods a lot.
Is that a euphemism?
No. Stuff. Just I like going walking around in the woods and that for this time of year. Watching everything change.
Got you.
Yeah.
Can't think of anything worse.
Oh yeah, well I got covered in bites.
That's pretty much why I wouldn't want to do it. Mozzies and midges, I'm guessing, was it?
Yes.
Lovely. I do remember when I do remember when I was of the Army Cadet persuasion. There was a lad, we had to do tenting at one point. I don't really like tenting, but one lad who was tenting got bit on the bell end by a midge. So, I could do without that, really. Anything I can think of to avoid doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure nature's lovely.
Yeah, you just like watching it on telly, don't you?
I'm very much of the Sheldon persuasion.
Yeah.
We spent that much time perfecting indoors.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to go outdoors? There you go. But I've been taking pictures and stuff. I have seen on your Facebooks and stuff, you've been taking the pictures.
I'm reading a lot as usual. The talented Mr. Ripley at the moment.
Oh, right. You seen the film?
But yes, as in the film, yes.
The film is very good. The film is very good. I did enjoy that. And what was the other one? Ripley's Game?
Yes.
That's Malkovich, isn't it?
Yes.
The other one's Matt Damon.
Yeah, he's actually very, very good. I didn't think he would be, but yeah.
Oh, he's in Jude Law as well. He's very good in it.
Yeah.
Celebrity Spurs fan. Obviously Spurs won 3-1 against Borussia fucking Dortmund. Oh yeah. And everyone's saying, oh, you didn't play very well. Don't care. 3-1. You had a disallowed goal at the other end, did Dortmund. Don't care. 3-1.
Yeah.
Don't care about any. Why would I care? We won.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah. It's an attitude Spurs haven't had for a long time because we always like to play pretty football.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we might have lost, but we play pretty football. I'd rather play horrible football and win.
Yeah.
Because that's what Germany and Italy and all the other really, really good countries do, that win loads of cups and things. So,
yeah.
I'm a want me some cups for my football club. Thanks very much. But it should be interesting tomorrow because they play Swansea and I've got to go to work on Monday. So, yeah. Interesting. Been up to anything else other than being into the woods?
Oh. Not really, no.
No.
Just usual house stuff. Reading.
There we go.
Getting annoyed at Facebook. Because everybody.
Sorry?
Getting annoyed at Facebook like everybody else does.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot to get annoyed about at the moment, sadly. I mean, it's uplifting that there's food banks.
Oh, God.
Yes, Jacob Rees-Mogg, how would you fucking know? You utter bellend.
Yeah, he's awful. I hate that man.
But like Jonathan Pye says, he's one of the first honest politicians in this country for a long while. You ask him a straight question, you get a straight answer.
Yeah.
You're not gonna like the answer, but at least it's a straight answer.
Yeah.
But there you go. Enough of politics. This is a fun podcast. As for me, I'm pretty much like you, really. I haven't been doing much. I did say it on the last podcast. It's that sort of time where it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Soon. So I don't really want to be buying nothing, just in case.
Yeah.
Because that sounds, it's exactly something I would do. Mm-hmm. Oh, I got this thing. Oh, that's the thing I bought you.
Yes.
Right then.
Yeah.
I did get bought a new phone today, though, for my birthday, because mine died. I've had it like 2 years. I'm gutted. Just coming up for an upgrade, and I won't be getting that upgrade now, because sod yeah, I'll be negotiating for a cheaper bill, I think. Because my phone, my lovely son, he just went, pfft. So you can't make phone calls or take phone calls on it, because it just dies. Mm-hmm. Everything else it does.
Yeah.
And I was gutted, because I use my phone as my MP3 player as well. Mm-hmm. Yes, I was very kindly bought a new phone, so thank you, Nico, for that. If you're listening, she's not listening. She's got better things to do than listen to this shit. But yeah, I've got a new phone, and yeah, like I said, it's my birthday in like 3 weeks' time. I've got 3 weeks of being 40 left. Mm-hmm. Not a fan.
No.
Because I was saying it to at work, and they said, "Oh yeah, but you still." I said, "Yeah, but what you don't get, 24-year-old, is that as of this point, I am 40." Mm-hmm. As of 3 weeks' time, I'm in my 40s.
Yes, I've been in my 40s for 5 months now, and it's really.
Yeah, I don't really care for it. I don't think it's something I want to do. So.
Best time of my life was 29 to 34.
Oh, best time of my life has probably been the last 6 years, but I hated my 20s. I was an idiot. Mm. I was a complete idiot, and so 18 to like 30 odd, I was an idiot. Mm. Married the wrong person, completely the wrong person. Just squandered opportunities that I had for everything. The worst one is, and this happened when I was 18, but I was like 25 before I went, hang on a minute. I used to drink in a bar in York, with a few mates of mine, and one of the barmaids was a student girl. She was a few years older than me. And, she used to come sit down, talk to me and talk to the lads and that. And, one night she said, "Oh, do you wanna maybe come back to mine after work?" I said, "Oh, no, I've got to get up for work in the morning."
Mm-hmm.
25 years old, I'm sat down and I'm sort of in bed thinking, hang on a minute.
You idiot.
Hang on, she was, oh no. But you know, if something had happened there, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I can't be too angry about it. But it was very George Costanza. Do you want to come in for coffee? I got an early start in the morning.
I've done that before myself. Really good joke. Got to go to work.
Gotta go to work in the morning.
Yeah, then you're in the taxi on the way home. And, oh, fuck, what the hell did I do?
What did I do that for? But anyway. Birthday's coming up. The only other thing I've done this week is I have been watching James Eatock's Facebook, because James Eatock, as you know, and if you don't know, he is probably one of the world's foremost authorities on Masters of the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And his Serial Geek magazine was marvellous. It was great. But he has been for a good year and a half now been creating a brand new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe episode.
I noticed that pop up on my Facebook this evening.
Yeah, it's the return of Faker. Now, Faker was the sort of bizarro He-Man that Skeletor created that was all blue and orange and didn't look a thing like He-Man. But in the show, he was in one episode and he looked like He-Man, but he had glowing eyes.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only difference. And for years, fans have sort of said, I really wish Faker had been in the TV show. I wish he'd been sort of featured more prominently, because he's a cool action figure. It's a cool concept. And it's just something about a bright blue He-Man with orange hair that's sort of, I don't know, a bit weird, a bit funky, and a bit cool.
Yeah.
So he, along with his good friend Dusan Mitrovic, has made a brand new episode called The Return of Faker, which basically is exactly that. It's the return of Faker. He comes back looking like he did in toy form.
Mm-hmm.
And various clips have been released, and today he's released the main clip that we all wanted to see, which is the actual bit where Faker comes back and beats up the rest of Skeletor's minions, which is very, very cool. So I suggest everybody go see it, and I suggest that when it comes out, everybody go watch it, because if they watch it, this one, it could be that they think, "Ooh, might make another."
How did you manage to persuade Filmation to let them do it?
Well, for one thing, Filmation doesn't exist. And hasn't done for a long time. It was bought out by, I think L'Oreal bought them. And basically just said to all the staff, get out, in like one morning. They all turned up for work and they're just told, get out. But, I think it's Classic Media own it now. And, James has done loads of work with them and Dark Horse Comics and been a really good ambassador for He-Man over the years. And, so I think basically they've said, yeah, run with it, because I think there's a push at the moment. I think there's a push to get it back in everybody's sensibilities again and sort of make it visible, because you've got the books that have come out. Obviously they're for the fans, but they are on general release. The most important thing in the last sort of couple of years that's come out that sort of brought everyone's mind back to He-Man is the Money Supermarket adverts.
Yeah.
Which have been very well received. A lot of people think, oh yeah, I remember them. They were really cool. Because they're of a mind to develop a He-Man movie.
Yeah.
And I think done right, it could be really good. I love the 1987 film.
Yes, I liked it. It was just a bit disappointing that the main battle took place in a music shop.
And it's got Monica from Friends in it.
Yes.
And Tom Paris. Although they were both really good. I'm not being really unfair there. And Courtney Cox was kind of a teen idol at the time, wasn't he?
Langella, though, you can't go wrong with him.
What was that, sorry?
Frank Langella, though,
Oh, yeah. He's very good. He's very good.
Christina Pickles, who plays the sorceress in that, plays Monica's mum in Friends.
Yes, from York. Which is really weird. I always thought she was American, but she's not. She's from York. Mm-hmm. Like David Bradley. Mm-hmm. Weird. Frank Langella. Dolph Lundgren was really good in it. For years and years and years, hated the fact that he was in that film. And over the last couple of years, he seems to have sort of softened on it and thought, do you know what? It's not a bad thing to be remembered for.
No, plus you get a lot of money going to conventions to talk about it.
Exactly. I think that might be a big reason. But I think the other thing as well is that I've spoken to enough voice actors and people who've been in genre things in the 80s to know that at the time it's just a job.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that they do. And they don't think anything of it. And then years later, you get all these people saying, do you know what? Thanks for that. And, you know, sometimes it could be that their star has faded. Even in voice acting, the star has faded a little bit. And they're sort of not feeling great about themselves, I'm guessing. And then somebody comes up and says, you know what? That thing you did in 1983 made a real impact on my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it sounds silly, but a lot of people, myself included, you know, things like He-Man and Transformers, they did mean a lot to us as kids, and they mean a lot to us now.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly, you know, I've spoken to voice actors who said that I've talked to people who were going through really shitty, horrible times when they were kids. Mm. And it was things like the cartoons they watched that kept them going.
Yeah, it was the doctor that kept me going when I was a kid, because I had a pretty shitty childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, one day I'm going to walk around the corner and there's the TARDIS. Every day I used to think that. Never did happen. That was why I really, really related to little Amelia Pond when they brought that character in.
Yeah. Oh, you see what I mean? So, you know, I think it's a good thing that sort of actors and voice actors sort of soften their views on parts they played, which maybe they didn't think much of at the time. But, yeah, anyway, they are supposed to be making a He-Man, film. So hopefully, I mean, it probably end up being development hell like these things always do. But it does seem silly that we've had 5 Transformers film and we've not had a Thundercats film. We've not had a He-Man film.
No. Thundercats.
Because they are licenses to print money.
Yes.
You will find that the nostalgia from those type of films will be massive.
There's a lot of actors piping up saying that they'd love to play the parts in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, who wouldn't want to play Skeletor? They have a whale of a time playing it, especially if they play it exactly like Filmation.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's the only way to play it. Mm-hmm. Other than Langella, who did a really good job, but he was a bit too serious for me.
Yeah.
He's more like the 2002 Skeletor from the Mike Young production series. Which, again, very, very good. If you've not seen it, go seek it out. Because what that does very cleverly is it uses ideas and synopses from the old series and fleshes them out a bit more. Which I think is a really clever way to do it. Speaking of doing things like that, J.J. Abrams is going to be directing Star Wars 9.
Yep, I noticed that.
Which is great. Colin Trevorrow unceremoniously booted out, obviously.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried though that he's going to end up plagiarising Return of the Jedi like he's apparently did for Force Awakens. Well,
the reason they did that for Force Awakens is because they were introducing...
That's what everybody wanted to see, you know, the giant Death Star blowing things up.
Yeah, well, they were just retreading old ground, kind of, because... they were bringing it back. They were sort of wiping the taste of the prequels away. Now, I will say here, I really enjoyed the prequels, but I think people wanted to see something like that again. Mm-hmm. That's why they did it. And from here on in, it'll be something completely different. I don't think Episode 8 will lend Episode 9 to be able to return to the Jedi, as it were.
Yeah.
JJ knows what he's doing.
As far as I know, they've completely changed Kylo Ren's character.
Yeah.
It's made him less whiny and more...
Benji. I think he's going to be more badass in this one. I think the reason he's whiny is because he's been coddled.
Yeah.
And now he's found out that everything's a bit... the universe is a bit bigger than he thought it was, so he's going to be a bit nastier now. Mm-hmm. I hope. Certainly Phasma's going to be a bit more badass.
Yeah.
I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, girl, how could you like Captain Phasma so much? She didn't do anything." That's the point. She was quite happy just to be a captain and just do her job, but now she got a reason to be pissed off with Finn. Mm-hmm. So she could go for him. Look, that's Brianna fucking Tarth. You're dealing with, motherfucker. Speaking of which, somebody actually sent me, obviously I'm not the biggest Game of Thrones fan in the world, but somebody sent me a video of, lots of stuff from The Hound.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the character that got everybody who I have introduced Game of Thrones to. He is the character that they've immediately latched onto.
I don't think it's enough to maybe go watch all of Game of Thrones right now, but I do like him a lot.
The chicken scene.
Just everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a badass. You're a cunt.
Yes.
Just... this, that, no, you're a cunt.
Told not to say that word, cunt, and everybody says, so, it's what my character does.
Yeah, it's what he says, it's his thing. What do you want him to say? Yarp. In joke. Anyway, but, yes, what I do finally watch Game of Thrones, he'll be the character in Brienne, obviously, that I do latch on to, because Brienne's pretty cool. And obviously Tyrion, because Peter Dinklage is fucking awesome. Just gonna say that here now. Everybody likes, is it Cersei? Is that how you pronounce it?
Cersei, yes. Cersei.
Yeah.
Everybody love-hate her.
I really, I literally know nothing, but I do like Lena Headey.
Yes.
Especially seeing as the other day she put on her Twitter, finally had a Greg's. Yes, I like you. It's all that Hollywood living and all that fucking fame that she has. She loves a Greg's.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I mentioned it before, but Greg's seems to be the great leveller, because I remember on Sunday brunch about a year ago, they were just starting to do the pasties, the Christmas pasties.
Yeah.
And they did all the one, and they had Danny Dyer on.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of them was like Waitrose or something like that, or a Farnham and Mason, bloody proper game pasty or something. So, it's alright. It's not Greg's though, is it? Danny Dyer, you are my hero. We will move on, to the adverts this week. Then we'll talk about some young ones in a few minutes. So the ads this week from the Yorkshire television region from the 25th of September 1982. You've got one for Bounce. Bounce sheets that you put in the tumble dryer to make your clothes not go awful from being in the tumble dryer. They didn't work.
No, they didn't.
I seem to recall.
They're really picking up dust.
Plus your stuff came out still the same horrible bloody consistency of your clothes, but they just smelt like detergent more.
Well, tumble dryers are better now, so you don't really need them.
Tumble dryers are rubbish. I hate tumble dryers.
Brilliant.
Hang your clothes out. Hang your clothes out. I'm lucky we've got it upstairs that is like hotter than the surface of the sun, so we just put clothes in there basically. I'm not a tumble dryer fan. And it's the smell of them.
Mm.
And the fact that most houses I've ever been with tumble dryer in, you've got to have that big pipe that you put out the window.
Oh, not a condenser dryer. You just empty the water out.
Oh, I can't be bothered with that. I'm like so much trouble. The next one is from the Bradford Telegraph and Argus, which I don't think exists anymore. But it's for their bingo, because all newspapers in the 80s had to have bingo.
Yeah.
And they make a big thing out of it being only 14p for the paper.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And then you've got an advert for Crown Plus 2 paint, which is Sunset Mist, which is pink. It's pink white. No, it's pink. If it was white, it'd be white. It's just light pink. It's so annoying. But, there was a thing in the 80s of pastel colours, and that, especially in the 80s, they were all saying, colour your walls with pastel.
Yes. My bedroom was painted white with a hint of rose.
Right.
Yes.
So not white then?
Yeah.
Or apple white.
Yes, that was my brother's bedroom.
Green. It's green.
Yes.
It's just very, very light pastel green. Not white. And then you've got a Negas showroom advert where you could buy your cookers and have them installed for free.
Yeah.
And they take them away for free, which doesn't happen these days. You've got to pay for it.
I think it's 25 quid to get it taken away and 80 quid to fit.
Our Swansea Council won't even do it. They say that they won't do it. We had a bath we had to get rid of as well, but they said, no, we're not doing that. So what are you supposed to do? We took you down a dump. I'll just hire a flatbed lorry to do that, shall I? But anyway.
Give us 3 times a year you can get rid of shit for free, and then after that it's 25 quid a load.
Well, not in Swansea, but you live in London, so.
Yeah.
Better council. Is it Hackney Council or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's mostly to stop the rats.
Yeah, well, there you go. The rats just take it away. We've got Aerial Automatic, the classic Jimmy Young combination with Jan Harvey, who would go on to be in Howard's Way.
Mm-hmm.
And be married to Tom Howard and be shagging Ken Masters. Ken Masters, my personal model for my life. I wish. He was awesome, Ken Masters. Plus he was in Doctor Who.
Mm. I can barely remember Howard's Way because my mum didn't like it.
Nobody liked it. It was just cool to watch.
She used to love that. Oh, it's Bergerac, isn't he gorgeous?
Oh, isn't he gorgeous? John Nettles. Oh, we should talk about Bergerac one day. I just like Bergerac. It was cool. And then we've got a public information film, the one with Mr. Mackay as a policeman saying, "Oh, this it doesn't mean that there's flying motorcycles over cars. It means that this is what's allowed to go down here." Mm-hmm. And then a motorbike flies over him. Ha! Hilarious. What, Mr. Mackay? And then you've got a trail for the Leeds Folk Festival, which I'm sure became the Leeds Festival. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's what it became. And then a trailer for Match Time with Dennis Law and Elton Wellesby. Mm. So that wasn't a Yorkshire programme, shock horror. That was from Granada if it was Elton Wellesby. Mm. And also Dennis Law, because he played for Man United and Man City, he would have no relevance in Yorkshire whatsoever. So, weird. Yeah. Weird. But anyway, we shall be back in a few minutes after the ads have been on. Hope you enjoy those. See you in a few.
Stay with us. Thundercats will be back after this.
I used to use a liquid softener, but now I've made an amazing discovery. New Bounce. Not a liquid, a sheet that works in the tumble dryer. When Bounce touches Jimmy's pajamas, it leaves them really soft.
Hey, they're really soft.
When Bounce touches Lucy's nylon slips, it eliminates static cling.
Terrific. No cling.
The Bounce touch means longer-lasting freshness. Days later, everything still smells clean and fresh.
Clean and fresh.
My neighbour used a liquid softener, so I told her about Bounce. I used a liquid softener until my neighbour told me about Bounce. The Bounce touch in the tumble dryer makes things nice and soft.
Nice and soft.
The Bounce touch means no static cling.
Look, no cling.
The Bounce touch means days later everything still smells clean and fresh.
Clean and fresh.
Discover the Bounce touch in your tumble dryer. 2 little ducks, 22. Clickety-click.
Buy the Telegraph and Argus, and you could win £300. Each day, match the numbers with your bingo card, and bingo! You're in the money. £6,000 must be won, plus a fabulous cruise on the QE2. And there's more. This year, there's 5 new editions of the Telegraph and Argus, bringing you 30% more local, national, and international news. Each day, still for only 14p.
Kelly's Eye, number 1.
So look out for your card. Buy the Bradford Telegraph and Argus, and bingo!
I told you, it's white with pink.
No, it's pink with white.
Sunset Mist.
It's definitely white, with a bit of pink.
It's pink with white.
Sunset Mist, one of 6 new misty shades from Crown.
Well, I say it's white with pink.
And I know it's pink with white.
New misty shades, 6 elegant shades of white with colour.
6 delicate shades of colour with white.
That's why you're more at home with Crown.
Gas today with Sue Lloyd-Roberts telling you about the better-than-ever value at your Gas showroom.
Today, gas cookers starting at just £199 fitted and working. £199 and no hidden extras. And these two are only £209 fitted and working. And there are many other fitted and working bargains at Gas. Many models come with a trade-in allowance. There's £80 on this one. Whichever you choose, Gas will install it safely at no extra charge. Remember, you can buy a new cooker for only £199, fitted and working. It's here at Gas today.
Happy with your wash?
Naturally.
What about close-up?
Well, you wouldn't call it spotless, but you can't shift stains like chocolate sauce without boiling. And I don't boil wash my best tablecloth.
You need Ariel Automatic. It washes close-up clean even when you don't boil wash.
On chocolate? Show me.
Okay. Let's choose a low temperature and wash 2 dirty tablecloths. Now see these chocolate marks? Look at them close up. Ariel Automatic's advanced biological formula lifts out dirt that ordinary powders leave behind, even without boiling.
Gracious, those marks have disappeared. Look. The knees of Peter's jeans. Even Bobby's messy bib. All the things I can't boil are so much cleaner.
With Ariel Automatic, you can wash close-up clean even when you don't boil wash.
This sign does not mean that you will encounter flying motorcycles. No, this sign indicates a street down which it is illegal to drive a motor vehicle, or you may be liable to a fine.
Later tonight, the Leeds Folk Festival features the great crossover group originating from Steel Eye Span, the Maddie Pryor Band, at 11:25.
Match time's in 15 minutes, and again we've found two thoroughly entertaining games. In fact, the season's got off to such a great start, it's difficult not to get amongst the goals. Well, it was really thriller-minute stuff at Anfield between Liverpool and Southampton, whose goalkeeper Peter Shilton was bombarded from start to finish. On this occasion, though, coming out on top.
And predictably, there were plenty of goals too between Stoke City and Luton, and I'll be looking at the day's most controversial incident.
So another great lineup with 17 goals, including Fulham against Leeds.
And now, back to Thundercats.
And we are back. Hope you enjoyed those ads there. Leigh just wanted to mention something that she wanted to mention as well.
Yeah, 30 years ago this month, Pet Shop Boys released actually their best album with It's a Sin on it. Everybody knows that one. Heart.
That one with Ian McKellen in the video.
Yes, the one with Ian McKellen in the video is the vampire who steals the wife. And
yeah, unrealistic.
yeah, no.
Unrealistic.
All three of them were not entirely straight.
Really?
Yeah.
You surprised me.
I know. I was gutted when I found out Neil Tennant was gay.
You could turn him. That's an incredibly homophobic thing to say, isn't it? Turn for him. Really? Mm-hmm.
How'd it go?
Neil Tennant was the editor for the Marvel UK superheroes comic in the 70s.
And Smash Hits. And then
Yeah.
the day he left Smash Hits, the new editor they put a page in saying farewell to Neil, he's going to go off to become a famous superstar, never mind, he'll be back next month.
He never came back.
No.
Didn't need to. And he also gave David Tennant his name.
Yes.
Because what is he? McDonald in reality, isn't he? There we go. Excellent stuff. Right, well, once in every lifetime comes a love like this. I love you, you love me. Oh, baby, can't you see? Yes, we're talking about the Young Ones. The seminal alternative comedy show from the 1982 from 1984. Starring Rick Mayall, starring Christopher Ryan, starring Adrian Edmondson, starring Neil Planer, and a whole host of other people as well, including Alexis Earle, who I'm sure I will talk about. Don't like him very much. Yes. Well, this was your choice, Leigh, so have at it. Tell us about the Young Ones.
Right. When I was a kid, this came on, I think I was about 6, 7, and there was these crazy people just beating the shit out of each other and swearing, and I'm like, wow, this is bloody brilliant, this. I mean, Mum and Dad rolling on the floor, killing themselves, laughing at it. And,
so bloody brilliant.
Yes, pathetic but brilliant.
Bloody utterly brilliant.
And then I just fell in love with Rick Mayall from there on, really, and started. And the BBC released it on video. My mum bought them for my birthday, 10th birthday. And just kept on watching them ever since.
Because it was aimed at 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was aimed at anybody who loved toilet humour, really. Snot humour.
Pretty much.
Yes. And Rick was the silent P, the people's poet.
He was. Yes. Who was this man?
But the best episode ever was episode 4, Bomb, where they decided.
Oh, is that?
Yes, where they decided to hold the country hostage and make Thatcher do what they wanted to do, otherwise they'd let the bomb go off.
Except Mike, who wanted to sell it.
Yes, Mike wanted to sell everything. He turned Rick's bedroom into a roller disco one night.
He did. Because why wouldn't you?
And I never did understand what he did as a student. He was just there.
Mike, well, he was a cool person.
Yes, he was there, but he just never said what he studied, and he managed to shag everybody's mums.
Basically, just David Cameron, isn't he, or someone? That's who he is. He's just like the ultimate capitalist. Let's have a look, see if it says here. Here we go. It says Mike attends Scumbag College only nominally as he blackmailed his tutor in the Demon's School for grants and successful grades. So, really, he doesn't do anything. He's just there because it's better than working, I'm guessing.
Yes. And see if he can get a PhD later. I remember him saying that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the characters there. You've got Mike, the cool person. You've got Rick, who is supposedly an anarchist, although he likes Cliff Richard.
And he's a sociology student. What's anology?
Got anology.
Yes, anology.
Says he's failed and he's got anology. But yeah, he thinks he's a comedian. He thinks he's hilarious, and nobody likes him at all. And it turns out he's not as radical as he says he is, because his parents are quite middle class and nice. Oh, and he's a closet transvestite as well.
Yes.
You got Vivian, who's a medical student, and he's a bit of a savant as well. He's really super hyper intelligent, good at maths, but he's also incredibly violent.
Yes. I think sometimes the two kind of blend together.
Yeah.
Incredibly intelligent, incredibly violent.
Is he speaking from experience then?
ADHD, I think they call it these days.
Yes, more than likely. And then you've got Neil, who is a hippie, pacifist, vegetarian. He's doing peace studies, and nobody likes him, even though he's the nicest person there. He's the person who really is the sort of most honest, I guess.
Yes. He's the one that everybody targets when they're bored.
Yes, because they know he won't fight back.
Yeah, and they steal all his money off him.
Exactly. And his parents are super, super rich and super posh.
And when he gets old, they wrap him up in bin liners.
Yes, exactly. Then you've got the Bolowskis, that's Alexis Hill and all that lot. You've got the fifth housemate, who apparently Ben Elton didn't write in there, but Paul Jackson and Jeff Posner thought it'd be hilarious to put a character in there who's always in the background, but you never hear from.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's set in North London in a typical student house. It's kind of based on the halls of residence that Rick and Ed Edmondson had when they were in Manchester.
Yeah, the student houses were pretty much like that when I was a student as well, up north.
Yeah, horrible.
You wouldn't think, you look at them now, they've got everything. They've got clean carpets, Wi-Fi, they have their own shower each. God, you have to shower in the bathroom when we were students.
Fucking ensuite. Not when I was at uni. They're fucking dirty, horrible hovels with fucking blimp burns on the carpet when you got there.
Yeah.
And all the fucking hot rocks people were taking the year before.
Nasty
just
on carpets, mushroom
Ugh.
ceiling, yeah. Right,
Exactly.
swimming pool to get washed and then go in that bath because nobody cleaned it.
Well, nobody cleaned it, and because nobody did the pots and pans in my house, in my student house, I just put them all in there.
Ah.
Clean my own stuff and just put them all in the bath, thinking, well, we'll sort them out eventually. They never did.
No.
Dirty bastards. Dirty bastards. But, yes, I mean, what was it that attracted you to the young ones, firstly? What was it that sort of hooked you? Was it the
anarchy, the craziness? It was like watching a cartoon, but with real people.
So obviously it stemmed from things like the Dangerous Brothers, didn't it, originally?
Yes.
Which is obviously what Rick and Aid first did at the Comedy Store. And I think they all came from the Comedy Store pretty much, didn't they?
They did the comic strip as well, and that's pretty practically everybody who turns up and it's from the comic strip anyway. I mean, Dawn French, and I didn't recognise her at first because I watched the very first episode earlier on, and she's in it. So I didn't recognise her because she's thin.
Well, she used to be. I mean, I remember her being thin in the 80s when they first did French and Saunders. They looked pretty similar, to be fair. And then all of a sudden, Dawn just decided she was going to get big. Mm-hmm. I'm sure she didn't decide that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. She got big in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And then played Geraldine, lovely Geraldine.
Yes.
And then she doesn't look well now.
Yeah. She had a gastric band done a few years ago.
They never looked good.
She's probably broken it by now.
Yeah. The Jennifer Saunders is in there as well?
Yes.
Wasn't Morwenna Banks in there?
Yes, she is as well. Jack
one of her.
Saunders was in the first episode as well. Was a party guest. And she goes, "I've been here for hours." No, it's only 7:30. It just seems as if I have been here for hours. Yeah, Rick was a really, really shit, boring party, and nobody really wants to be there. He's just forced.
Right. It's one of Rick's parties, isn't it? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously a lot of the Oxbridgey sorts of people went there, even though Rick and Aid weren't Oxbridge at all.
No, they were Manchester.
But Ben Elton was Cambridge, was he?
Yeah, I think he was. French and Saunders, they were Manchester as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I think so.
Because they were teachers at first.
Yeah, they were. But yeah.
Your teacher, that'd be brilliant.
I think Jennifer Saunders as a teacher, that would have been great. No, I don't think she met Aid there, because she met him on the comic strip, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were married and are still fucking married.
Yeah.
So which is awesome, I think. So yeah, they're still married. We won't dwell on Lisa Mayall and Rick Mayall, because obviously Lisa Mayall co-wrote the series, and Rick Mayall wasn't very nice to her, really.
No, he wasn't.
But it seemed that everybody forgave him.
Yeah.
Because he sort of ran off with the missus he married.
Yeah.
While Lisa Mayall was pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah. With his kid, by the way. Yeah. Yeah, he sort of, we won't dwell on that because everybody forgave him, so, it's not for us to say.
Yeah, he's makeup artist, apparently.
Yeah. Silly. But like I say, everybody forgave him in the end. But obviously they were in it. Hale and Pace were in it, which I forgot about.
Yeah, I forget about Hale and Pace a lot. I don't really like them.
I really liked Hale and Pace.
It was a bit jarring watching Doctor Who when they turned up in that.
They were alright in it though. They weren't playing it for laughs, even though it was typical John Nathan Turner stunt casting. They sort of didn't play it for laughs.
Yeah.
They were actually really good and straight. And lest we forget, they were the first DL and Pascoe to be filmed on television.
Yeah, and they weren't really very good at that either.
They were okay. I must admit, this is coming from somebody who wasn't a big DL and Pascoe fan at the time anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I love DL and Pascoe. Gone forever about those. I've got all the books, got the TV shows. I just love
Of course you do.
Yeah.
But no, they were in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just...
Fry and Laurie.
Yes, Fry and Laurie.
Arden and Frost.
Madness.
Madness, Jules Holland, Mel Smith, Griffiths Jones, Terry Jones was in it, which is pretty cool. Chris Barry was in it, Norman Lovett, Lenny Henry, because of course, David Rappaport, Robbie Coltrane, who was in Flash Gordon for a second.
Motorhead, they were in it as well.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well, the reason they had a musical act on every week is because I think this must have been Ben Elton who twigged this, because he was very clever at things like that.
Yeah, they got more money. If they were
if you had a musical act or an act that wasn't part of the story, you would then class as a variety show or a light entertainment show, and you got a bigger budget. It does mean that on the DVDs, very rarely do you see the musical bits.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because you got Motorhead, and I love this bit, Motorhead playing Ace of Spades. With Lemmy being fucking awesome, and like you said earlier on, Madness because they do House of Fun.
Yes.
Which is cool. And Our House, who were on twice. Yeah. And brilliantly, the amazing John Otway was in there as well.
Yeah, and it was because of young ones that I got into really liking Madness as well. Subtle.
I was lucky. I always liked Madness anyway. I saw them from a very young age and just thought, yeah, they're pretty damn cool there. Yeah. And like...
Yes.
I will say, Motorhead, that the young ones got me into Motorhead, because I remember, because I didn't see the series until the 90s.
Yeah.
I had people who didn't want me to watch that series when I was young, so I wasn't allowed to. To be fair, I was about 6 or 7 years old.
Well, I had responsible parents and grandparents and very, very irresponsible auntie. She was only like 10 years older than me, so very irresponsible.
It wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't mind a bit of irresponsibility occasionally, but there you go, never mind. So I saw it in the mid-90s, so some of it was actually a bit lost on me, to be fair. And plus I'd sort of fallen in love with Bottom by that point as well, which we will talk a bit about in a bit. But yeah, it was, like we said, nothing like this had really been seen on television before. Now, obviously, you had the comic strip. We did say you had the comic strip on Channel 4 previously. The difference being nobody watched Channel 4 at that point.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody kid you into the fact that Channel 4 came along and revolutionised television. It didn't.
No, it didn't. The only person I think remember who ever watched Channel 4 on its first day was Adrian Mole, and he's a fictional character.
Yeah. I used to watch Countdown a lot. They used to show things like the Monsters.
Oh.
Just after Countdown, because Countdown was on really late when it first came, like 5 o'clock. And that was on like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something stupid like that. But it used to be at 5, and then they showed things like the Monsters directly after, or things like Sumo, but this is like sort of mid-80s, so they've been going a few years. I remember when the fucking Mini Pops was on.
Yes, I remember that.
And I also remember thinking a few years after that when people started thinking, oh, the depravity, thinking, what? I used to watch it, I used to think it was great. I mean, I was their age.
Yeah.
And like to this day, I still don't see what the hoo-ha is about with Mini Pops. Alright, kids in makeup, singing songs. Maybe the songs are a bit inappropriate, but if you're sat there thinking, oh, paedophiles are wanking to this, then maybe you're the one with the problem.
Yeah. But as we
I don't think it was made for that.
But then again, as we now know, quite a few people of our childhood were.
Yeah, but this is people on the BBC. Maybe that dude from Channel 4, and maybe this needs to go, ha-ha!
Yeah.
I was right. We weren't fucking doing nothing horrible. They were.
Yeah.
But there you go. I don't know. Maybe him and the guy who created Captain Pugwash should team up and just fucking go around people's doors and just beating them up who flagged them off like Toya. I remember watching a documentary with Toya on it, and she was going, oh, those poor children. And then they showed one of the children all grown up and said, oh, we had a fucking great time. What are you talking about? We were allowed to play dress up and we got to sing songs for a stage school kid. This is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
So don't always believe these things. I mean, how we got onto that, I do not know. But anyway, yeah, people didn't watch Channel 4. So when it came on the BBC, the young ones, it was like a massive thing. And I remember people talking about it. I don't remember watching it, but I do remember people talking about it a lot.
The opposite to what was going on, like the two Bonnies, and all of a sudden they suddenly seemed a little bit boring.
Well, they did that thing. I mean, they very consciously did the whole Good Life sequence, where Vivian kicks the telly in and say, no, we're not having that! On my favourite fake TV programme on there, Nosing Around. Because that is exactly what... I remember when the Tube came on telly, the Channel 4 Jules Holland show.
Yeah.
You know, you compare that to Top of the Pops. Alright, maybe the Tube wasn't as anarchic as people make out that it was, but it was more on a teenager level than maybe Top of the Pops was.
That was Tyne Teeth, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it was Newcastle, wasn't it? It was the gateway to that, was why it was called the Tube. But it was, you know, that had Rick Mayall on there, I think the first episode, possibly. Co-presenting it because he threw up. And they had I remember he fell out of a bar, threw up, obviously. And somebody apparently called the police. Watching it on telly, he called the police. Said, you need to get round there now because there's this bloke out there and he's throwing up all over the place. And he's like, I can't even. But, so Nosing Around is fantastic because I remember programs like that from my youth. On things like Razzmatazz on Children's ITV and stuff like that, and all these programs that said, we speak for youth, and you don't speak for youth at all. You know, the Tube did, or maybe stuff on Deaf 2 did, you know, but like Rapido, that was much more of a seminal program and an influence. Anything Antoine does is fucking amazing.
Shaped our people's lives, our age, from about, say, 38 to 50 onwards.
Yeah. As the only good thing to come out of Brexit was the fact we got a Eurotrash special. With Antoine and Jean-Paul.
Oh, Jean-Paul.
And Pipi and Poupou. That was amazing. So Antoine de Cannes and Rapido was like more seminal than anything bloody Razzmatazz ever fucking did. Nobody cared. And that's what Nosing Around was basically saying. And it's one of the few good things Ben Elton's ever done. Was presenting that fake program. But yeah, it's just a whole the whole thing of it just being silly and almost like you can see the influence it had on other people later on down the line. Obviously, Blackadder was a bit influenced by it, but things from our child, like Bodger and Badger, that's totally influenced. That's influenced by the young ones, there's no doubt. Even things like Chucklevision.
Yes. Oh, I love Chucklevision still.
But that's had an influence, you know, that had, was influenced by it. And things like the Boosh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so some of the silliness that goes on. And it's the, you know, because there were those silly bits where you had the rats.
Mm-hmm.
Or you had the piece of cheese talking to, was it a piece of cheese?
Yes. It was
talking.
Can't remember what it's called now, bro. About a landlord and a caretaker and some flatmates, and one of the flatmates is a bloody bear. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It seems to remind of a children's programme. I can't remember what the hell it was. But I do know that one of the characters plays a White Walker in Game of Thrones, just to tie that back into it.
Nice. Nice. But yeah, loads of kids' TV was influenced by the young ones. Because it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was that rude. When you actually look back on it and you watch it, it was just bloody funny and stupid and slapsticky and Tom and Jerry.
It does remind us a lot of Cary Grant's slapsticks. Arsenic and Old Lace.
Not so much Vivian getting his head cut off on the train.
No. But yeah, you could see there's quite a bit of the 1940s slapsticks involved in it as well. Just watching it. It grabbed your marks here and there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Laurel and Hardy and things like that. And yeah, obviously the age that they are, the age that they were. I mean, even now you can, because
it's like the mid.
They've all
went.
Yeah, well, they're mostly grown up to be respectable people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Aid Edmondson is a folkie.
Yeah.
He was a, you know, I guess the only one who never really grew up was probably Rick.
Yeah. What happened?
Because he just couldn't help himself.
No, he couldn't. I remember when he published his autobiography, I went to get it signed. And the copy's at my dad's house. And he wrote in it, "To Leigh, my favourite cunt, now fuck off."
Exactly. And I remember when he was on Paul O'Grady show doing a promo for a show he'd done, like sort of, this is 10 years ago. Yeah. And Paul O'Grady was on edge, visibly. Because you knew sort of for what he wouldn't do. And yet, he would only do that if people expected him to do that. Mm. If you got on edge, he sort of sniffed it like a shark sniffing blood and was like, yep, I'm going to do something, or am I?
And then that look comes on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a great video on YouTube. I don't know if it's still out there, but it's called Rick Mayall at his best.
Mm-hmm.
And they're at some function, and Sian Phillips is there, the series actor, Sian Phillips. And somebody is filming it. Mm-hmm. And Rick is just talking to someone. And then out the corner of his eye, he sees a video camera. And as soon as he sees it, he switches on, and he just starts being a little boy. So he's doing that thing with he's listening to the guy and going, oh yeah. And then all of a sudden he just puts his arms out and goes, huge, he's massive, big cock. And all that. Because, you know, it's a camera, and he's got to play up to the camera.
It's that Leigh he does, you know, where it's as if his nose goes up into his forehead. He's a dirty old man Leigh.
Yep.
I love that.
Oh, it was marvellous. And he did so much stuff, like, we'll talk about it in another one, the New Statesman, which I fucking love.
Yes.
Which is a part he made his own.
Yeah. I remember watching that one, the game with the responsible Auntie Janet.
Well, I used to watch it on,
Sunday,
when I did.
wasn't it?
It was a Sunday night thing, yeah, and I remember when I was doing politics as a course, they actually told us to watch that and watch Yes Minister.
Yeah.
Because they would teach you a lot about politics, because they were actually quite accurate, both of those, in their own different way. New Statesman was great. And then obviously when they went on to Bottom, which is my personal favourite, and the thing they wanted to do most of all, those two, because it was naughty, it did upset people, and that's kind of what they wanted to do. Because they just wanted to call it Your Bottom. Just so people say, I saw your bottom last night.
Yeah.
And apparently Yentop hated that, so they went with it.
Good.
Yeah, they made it worse. Yeah. By hating it, he made it ultimately worse than it ever could be. And that was just the Dangerous Brothers.
Yeah, we'd have been about 14, 15 when that was first out on telly.
about 91, yeah, I was about 15, I was. So perfect.
Used to talk about it in art next morning. It used to be on Thursday evenings, Thursday nights at 9:30.
And then he used to put it on at Friday. Yeah. Just that and the High Life, which I loved as well. I really loved that show. But so yeah, Bottom was great, and so rude. And the live ones aren't as good. I'm going to say now. The first one was okay. I was never that much of a fan of the live ones because they just went on too long.
Yeah, it corpse a lot, didn't they?
It was worth it for the corpsing. I found the corpsing the best bit, to be fair. Especially that, I think it's the first one where he's trying to kill himself. He just won't get on, Rick just goes completely off. And it says something and it says, fucking hell! A line from the play! Oh, fuck off!
There's an episode where Rick tries to kill himself in
the oven.
In the young ones, yes. He's taken Neil's vitamin B tablets. He puts gas has run out and everything.
Well, because he tries to kill himself in Bottom as well. Fake kill himself. So Eddie will give him
just
pound. Yeah. Because he's because they're dicks basically. But what a lovely smashing blouse you have. But yeah, he's, that thing about sad, pathetic people at the bottom of life's heap is a sort of running theme through a lot of their work. Yeah. I suppose it's because, I don't know, people who have it all aren't as fun to portray, unless you're someone like Alan Bastard. But
you get quite a lot of tragic rich people.
What's that, sorry?
You get quite a lot of tragic rich people. But,
You do. I don't think they're as fun to play.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way you could make Kurt Cobain's life funny.
Especially not the end where he committed suicide.
Yes, I know what you were going to say there.
He committed suicide, allegedly. Yeah. Shall we say. Go on then, why not?
Yeah.
That's, I can't see making a fucking comedy about Jacob Rees-Mogg that funny, for instance.
But yeah, they did it well with To the Man of Born, but then again, she did lose.
She lost everything.
Yeah.
She was rich and she lost everything.
Yeah.
That was good though. I used to like Peter Ball. I think Peter Ball should be. Wasn't he in Game of Thrones?
I can't remember.
He's been in something like that. He has been in something like that, I'm sure.
Let's have a quick look.
Let's face it, every fucker else has been in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I keep sort of watching things online. People keep saying, "Oh, Julian Glover's in it." What?
Yes.
And that dude out of Star Wars was in it as well. The guy from Naboo. He was in it, and it's like, fuck's sake, who hasn't been in Game of Thrones at this point? Leigh Edmondson's in Star Wars.
Is he now?
He's in Last Jedi.
Is he?
Apparently so. Of course, Christopher Ryan ended up being a Sonsaran.
Yes, he did.
He did. A very good one.
Yeah.
Not as good as Dan Starkey, but he was still in it.
Yeah.
Didn't he come? He came back from the Pandemic Opens as well, didn't
he? Did, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And Starkey together for that one.
Yeah. He was bloody good. I mean, it had to be him because he's only tiny. And he was, not Sil. He was the other guy. He was the other mentor.
Oh.
The one who became Perry.
Oh, yes, he was, wasn't he?
So he's been in Doctor Who twice. Planer's never been in Doctor Who as far as I'm aware. Matter of time. Rick was never in it, and neither was Edward. How Alexei Sale was?
Yes, it was Revelation of Daleks, wasn't it?
He was the DJ, yeah. Alexei Sale. Let's talk about Alexei Sale, shall we? The man who had a shit fit when they brought out the Comic Relief single with Cliff Richard. And yet the year before had a hit with Hello John Got a New Motor. And then went on to do adverts for Tesco and narrate children's programmes.
He's such a contradictory person.
He's a prick, is what he is. No one I have ever met who's met him said he's a nice person. He just seems to be a really horrible person.
He's Greek, isn't he? Or Cypriot.
Is he?
That, yeah.
I thought he was Russian. He always made out he was Russian, but is he lying about that as well, is he? Fuck me. It's just a shame because I quite liked his 90s stuff. I liked his 90s series. Yeah. When he did the Scouse Comedian. Ow, you did, Iron. Bloody sod you there. He had quite a few good shows in the early 90s, did Alexi, especially when they did the whole Mickey Mouse Club stuff. A-L-E-X-E-I-S-A-Y-L-E. Who is that fat bastard? I think Amy Winehouse was in there somewhere. But yeah, I don't know. He's alright in the young ones, but
Lithuanian,
I don't know.
He's not Russian, he's Lithuanian Jewish.
Yeah, I didn't think he was great. I knew he wasn't Russian.
Yeah.
Even though he said he was for years and years and years. But I don't know. Just something about him I don't like. He's that at least Ben Elton, for all his foibles, has never really made out that he was a Trotskyist or anything like that.
Yeah.
He's always said he was sort of Labour. He'd vote Labour. Even, then he started making oodles of money, but it was Blairite sort of times that he did that, which fit with what the Labour Party was like at that point.
Well, at that point, anything was better than John Major.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna stick up for Ben Elton a little bit. I don't think he's as bad as people make him out to be. He's written some bloody good series.
He's written some really good books. But they like the last programme we talked about Blackadder, he turned that around completely. Yeah,
exactly. And he's done. They say he would never do Blackadder again. However, I've seen Upstart Crow, and that's Blackadder. And that started again the other day, and I thought, actually, this is really good. Actually, I don't mind it. It's not earth-shattering. It's not going to change the world, but it's a good sitcom. It's David Mitchell, so how bad can it be?
Yeah.
So yeah, he wrote that. He wrote The Young Ones. He wrote The Thin Blue Line, which was never a bad show.
Oh, I loved that. That was just something else that was completely absurd too.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, it was very 70s. I was actually watching the other day for my sins. I was watching the first ever episode of Mind Your Language.
Oh,
and
you as well.
I was watching it. I'm thinking, do you know what? This isn't half as bad. When they put it on programs like It Was Alright in the 70s and whatnot, it wasn't half as bad as people are saying. If you watch that and you watch some of the right-on idiot comedians who were on that, they say, oh, it was so awful and it was so offensive, and they were basically just saying racial slurs all the way through the... They're not. They're using stereotypes and these very, very big broad strokes. It wouldn't be appropriate now. What was that, sorry, Leigh?
I don't understand nuances in anything anymore. Everything is black and white.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think of the context of the time as well. It was 1977. There were no... People didn't know any better. It's the values dissonance. So you've got to judge it by the values of the time and not now, because now we know it's wrong not to make stereotypes out of Greek people or Indian people or Pakistani people. They weren't racially slurring them as they were on Love Thy Neighbour. But again, that's not as cut and dried as everybody thinks it is. Trust me, it's horrific and in no way should it be broadcasted or repeated. But it's the same with Mind Your Language. But it's not... They're not walking in and saying, oi, Packy boy, and all this. They're not. What they are doing is using very broad strokes to get across simple characters. So the Japanese guy has a camera around his neck, because that's what Japanese people do. The Chinese girl always has a little red book with her, because that's what Chinese people do.
The American's fat, because that's what Americans do.
Yeah, or the Italian guy says Mamma Mia a lot and goes after the ladies, and the French girl is really, really, good looking and has big boobs and that kind of, it's broad strokes comedy, and it was always meant to be broad strokes comedy. It was LWT on a Saturday night, for fuck's sake. Come on.
LWT, the same station that brought us Brian Walden. You wouldn't think.
Brian Walden. And possibly the most inappropriate political programme theme tune ever. Because it was Nantucket Sleigh Ride, which is a great piece of prog rock. But... Wow, really? For Weekend World?
Yes.
Prime Minister.
He just took no prisoners.
Problem is, when I think of Weekend World, I always think Sunday Lunch.
Yeah.
I always think, Sunday lunch. Because that's what preceded it.
Yes.
Brian Walden with Wicked World. Prime Minister. Yeah, he was the proto-Paxman, which was, he was, I love Weekend World. I do actually watch it sometimes on YouTube. That's how sad I am. Because it's that sort of nostalgia kick that you need.
Yeah.
Sometimes the thing about nostalgia, yes, you can have, we can go back and make these programs, or we can do this. And then you hear a theme tune and it just hits you in the stomach. Mm-hmm. Because that's how nostalgia works. Yeah. It was actually a mental illness you could be shot for in the army at one point, was nostalgia. It was actually declared a detrimental mental illness. Because it makes you sad. Although it doesn't, it makes you sad. But so yeah, it's that whole weird values dissonance thing that you can't. I think people take things too literally these days and think, oh no, that's everybody in the 70s was racist and sexist, and yeah, they probably were to some extent. Yeah. But I don't think white men went around punching black guys and women. No. For funsies.
I think it's all got to do with attention spans these days, because there's so much coming into your head. You're just sitting there at this little box at your laptop, and there's just so much information piling on you. Whereas in the 70s, you'd be waiting a couple of days for news, or
3 channels.
Yes, 3 channels, and you just sat and concentrated on everything, really.
I think they should. They're all on YouTube. If you go watch old news broadcasts on sort of ITN news breaks and things like that, I think that's the thing they should show, because this is, and then tell kids this is what it was like before there was rolling news.
Rolling news is awful. It's just Kay Burley standing there, wonder what's going on.
Yeah, so they have what they do now is what Drop the Dead Donkey, coming back to that, predicted. So you've got Damien Day making the news because there is no news, and that's a lot of what happens these days. Whereas in the 70s and the early 80s and the mid 80s, even before there was such a thing as rolling news, you had to wait for the news to come in. So when something happened, when something was major, that's when it got reported. Yeah. Not just, we're waiting for this thing to happen, so let's make it worse than it is. And how we got to this, I do not know. But there you go. Okay then, so the young ones, what's your favourite episode again?
Bomb.
And why?
Because it's just absolutely ridiculous premise, and you wouldn't get away with making that today. Threatening the Prime Minister with a nuclear bomb. Don't think anybody would dare make that as a comedy these days.
Well, probably not. Not now, anyway.
Only Rick Mayall could get away with that.
Oh, he'd totally try it.
Oh, yes.
He would totally try it. Because why not? Yeah. I'm trying to think of my favourite. I guess my one is the University Challenge episode.
Yes, everyone loves that one as well. I do like that.
Yeah.
And obviously Dr. Martin's song.
Yes.
£29.99. It's a bloody £110 a pair now.
I used to have a pair of Doc Martens when I was at school. And then I sort of stopped wearing them and wore Converse, and that was pretty much it for me.
I wear Docs a lot, mostly because...
You surprise me.
Well, once you break them in, the most comfortable shoes you could wear ever.
I disagree. Converse are the most comfortable shoes you could wear.
And it's too flat for me. I've got really high arches.
Is that why they all let you in the army? That fact that you didn't want to go in the army?
Flat feet can't go in the army.
I've got flat feet. I used to have a mate who had completely flat feet. And yet he did join the army.
I think it might have only been American. They might have changed it now. I know they changed the height limit. They changed the height limit for a lot of people there.
Well, coppers, isn't it? Because it used to be a height. When I was a kid, there was a height limit for coppers.
Yeah.
You had to be big and tall, and you don't have to be big and tall anymore.
No, you don't have to be big and tall to be a firefighter anymore now.
You can't wear glasses, then?
No.
For obvious reasons.
No.
Can't have a beard?
No, because you need, Scott says you need the, when you put your, what is it, your breathing apparatus? When you put your breathing apparatus on, you need to create a vacuum, and the beard stops it. It's like sticks to your face, and the beard stops sticking to your face.
No members of the French Foreign Legion going in the army then?
No.
And sorry, the fire service, that I wouldn't be, thank God. There you go. 'Cause I wouldn't want to anyway.
Fire service. Crazy people. All these people running into fires, and then you've got loads of other people behind them. Go on, son, I've got your back. You get in that fire and put it out.
That reminded me of Blackadder there. So, we'll be right behind you.
Yes, basically that's how it works.
35 miles behind you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Who was your favourite character in The Young Ones?
Rick, probably.
Yeah, it's a toss between Rick and Vivian for me. Especially.
I really like Mike as well, because I like Christopher Ryan. I like him as Dave Hedgehog as well.
Yeah, I like them all.
I guess Neil always gets a bit of a bad rap because Nigel plays him perfectly as a drip.
Yes, he does.
And yet that's not the sort of character he usually plays at all. He's playing completely against type, because he usually plays quite smarmy arseholes.
Yeah. Weirdly, he seems to have been playing that. He seems to play it straight as well, rather than actual comedy. He's playing like a real bloody 80s. Was like.
Yeah, I mean, he's an actor, isn't he, these days? He's like McInnery. He's done comedy, but he's not really a comedy actor. Jim Broadbent's another one sort of from that era. Because there's quite a few of them who have sort of done legitimate stuff now, rather than comedy. Ed Edmondson, even. I saw him the other week in something from about 10, 12 years ago. It was about Chernobyl.
Uh-huh.
And it's he plays the investigator from the Soviet Union who ended up killing himself because of the whole thing being hushed up. But he plays the guy who's sort of first in there who sorted all that out. And really, really good. It's one of those things of he really should play more dramatic roles because he's really very good at it. Is Ade Edmondson. And Rick played a few semi-dramatic roles as well. He was in things where he was... I wouldn't say they were fully drama, but they sort of had pathos in them.
Yeah.
Even like that Drop Dead Fred.
Yes. Oh, I love that film.
It's a great film, as silly as it is, but right at the end, there's quite a lot of pathos there, and it's like, in fact, he should have done more serious roles. Because I think he would have been really rather good at it, and he never really worked out that he did. But yeah, Drop Dead Fred's a great film. There's only one thing that ruined that film, and it was Phoebe Cates. She wasn't very good, because Tim Matheson was great in it. Carrie Fisher was great in it.
Might have worked better with Winona Ryder, I think.
Yeah, I think Phoebe Cates just played too goody-goody. And she didn't really get angry with him, as she should have done. I think she wasn't bad. It's not a bad...
Beetlejuice, wasn't it?
What's that, sorry?
Out round about the same time as Beetlejuice, wasn't it?
No, it was early 90s. About 91, I want to say. Because I remember it coming out in the cinema and going to see it, and it was great. And everybody else hated it. I think Ebert gave it like 2 stars. There's a great interview with Letterman, with Rick Mayall, because when Rick went over there and he's promoting the film, and it's very, very, very clear that Letterman does not care for Rick Mayall one iota. Doesn't like the film, doesn't like Rick. And Rick couldn't care less. You can just tell, I don't care. If you like me or not, I'm just going to act like a twat like I always do, get away with it, and then not care what you think.
And he was in that play that Stephen Fry ran away from as well, wasn't he?
Well, they do reference that in the second Bottom show. When they're both in prison. They're both getting put in prison for trying to kill the Queen.
Yeah.
And shag the Queen is what he's trying to do. But Rick starts losing it again. Starts going off on one. Because he said, "Oh, I'm all alone. What should I do?" And somebody said, "Have a wank." Who starts, "Have a wank." We're fucking Oxford. And he just lets him get on with it for about 5 minutes and says, "I'm starting to see why Stephen Fry fucked off." So yeah, it's Stephen Fry was in a bad place, but it's nice that they could take the piss and make light of it, because that's what they do. But yeah, it's a shame that sort of Rick never got to play more dramatic stuff, because I think he would have been quite good at it. He was very good in Man Down, I will say that. The Greg Davies sitcom.
Yeah. Also remember he did Waiting for Godot, which is where they got the idea from Bottom in the first place.
Yes, I mean, that's what it is. It's just a more comedic version of Waiting for Godot as his bottom. And obviously you've got the whole Dangerous Brothers thing as well. With the crazy, stupid slapstick.
By rights, they should have died every single bloody episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, Eddie used to drink bleach, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Same in the Young Ones. By rights, they all should have died every episode in that as well.
And yet they did die at the end.
Yeah.
Look out! Cliff! And obviously,
tetanus. Mike should have died of tetanus when he hammered the plates to the table and then, by extension, to himself.
Yep. Oh, yeah. 1,000,001 ways to die in that thing. Like I say, Bottom's exactly the same. The amount of times that they did get killed, I think, twice, probably. Yeah. But that was the way they were. They'd watched too much Tom and Jerry as kids.
Yeah.
Clearly.
The modern Tom and Jerry's not like that. It's quite the best friends.
The best friends. There's no smoking. There's no Thomas.
There's no cat lady.
Well, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, the old black lady who owned Thomas.
Yeah. Mum.
Oh no, that's racist.
Mummy too.
Really? Really? That's racist? Because I watched it as a kid and I never got that at all. I just thought, why is she hitting the cat? That's what I got out of it. She used to beat the shit out of Tom.
I just thought she was a black lady who lived in New Orleans. With
who owned a cat?
Yeah, who had a cat and
a mouse problem.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But, you know, it's at the end of the day, you can intentionally make something, but it doesn't mean 50 years down the line somebody's going to have a completely different take on it.
Yeah.
And not realise that that's what you were getting at. So, you know, maybe censoring stuff isn't a good thing. Maybe saying this should never be shown again isn't a good thing, because people always use their own heads. And racist people will see something as racist, and people who aren't racist will see. I'm sure there's people who see stuff in the Young Ones who get triggered.
Yeah.
And say, that's disgusting, you can't talk about women that way, you can't say this about this.
Yeah.
You're never going to have something that's 100%. Well, you can have things that are 100% not offensive to anybody, and those things will never be remembered.
No.
Because they'll be bland and boring and...
Michael McIntyre.
Yeah. What happened to him? John fucking Bishop.
Sitting on his ass counting all these millions.
Well, John Bishop is now Parkinson, from what I can gather. So maybe they'll make a Ghost Watch with him where he gets possessed by Mr. Pipes again. That's something we should talk about at Halloween at some point.
Yes.
That'd be cool. Excellent stuff. So, okay then. So we said favourite character, favourite actor in it?
Oh, Rick. Gotta be Rick.
No. Not Christopher Ryan then, no?
So, but Rick, definitely.
Definitely Rick. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would say Rick. Yeah, definitely Rick, I think. And there we go. Brilliant stuff. Well, that's the Young One. You should go watch it and make your own mind up. Like I say, it is, I'm not going to lie, I think it is dated.
Yeah, it is. It's very dated, but it's also only 12 episodes long, and it's a bit of British history, really.
It's definitely of its time, but then a lot of things are of its time. A lot of sitcoms, especially if that's, you will find that it's more modern than some of the sitcoms it was lampooning, like Terry and June.
Yeah.
You go back and watch that from the early 80s, it's like it was made in the late 60s.
Oh God, I can't stand that. It's like...
I love it. Or something like a little place like Home, which is horribly dated. Horrifically dated. And then you go watch something like the Good Life, which ironically they did lampoon on the Young Ones.
Yeah.
And that's actually okay. That's dated okay.
Yeah, it has.
It's actually more modern than a lot of the sitcoms of that time.
I think that's because they didn't have any kids in it. They didn't have any children. They didn't have any young children. It was just two couples and a load of animals.
Yeah, and there were no real references to anything going on at the time.
No, just the Harrods Christmas hamper van.
Which, you know, you probably do get now.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, I've
you probably still
stuff from Harrods before.
Yeah.
Not loaded with money. It's just that sometimes it's the only shop that sells what you want.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that
The caviar.
Yes. And they actually do come to your house in a bright green Harrods van and up the stairs with a massive Harrods box and your tiny little eyeshadow that you've wanted is in this massive box.
I remember when you were cool. It was just a complete class traitor now. You're all London and shit.
Oh no. I like Harrods because it's totally and utterly kitsch, ostentatious. It's not ashamed of itself.
Like the Ritz.
Yes.
Yeah. Which one day I will go to.
Harrods is brilliant, just takes the piss out of itself.
I shall go to the Ritz and I shall refer to it as the tits. And it's all Mark Heap's fault. Excellent stuff. There we go. Well, that's the end of another cool episode. We have done the young ones. We shall come back and we shall do something else very soon with Leigh. Well, there's a Nova Beacon we'll be doing about the Second Doctor very soon as well. Just very quickly before we go into that, have you seen the news about Big Finish?
Yes, David Bradley in the First Doctor.
Yep, he's going to be coming back and he's been doing audio adventures as the First Doctor, which is really cool. And they might, as far as I can tell, it looks like Susan's there as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that on the artwork that's been done.
So I don't know, I've not heard anything about Caroline Ford coming back, but that would be really cool if we could get her back as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure she'd be up for it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And if they get Ben and Polly, maybe it's going to be the guys who do Ben and Polly in the Christmas special.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about that when we do that Nether Beacon next. Leigh, if somebody wanted to find you on the old wide world of the interwebs, where's the best place to do that?
Well, Instagram at Leigh Wildtime and also the Nether Beacon podcast page on Facebook.
Yep.
And if you
which you have been adding to.
Yes. And if you're really lucky, I may add you on my own Facebook page if I like the look of you, which is Leigh Fitzpatrick.
It's probably not going to happen though. I won't hold your breath. Took me 10 years.
Yeah.
There you go. If you want to find me, you can find me on Twitter at Cymru Nerd Cave. You can find me on Facebook, Glenn Jakeman. Please do leave a message, because if you don't, I probably won't add you, because I won't know who you are. And there is a rise of the sex bot now on Facebook. I seem to be getting a lot of friend requests from extremely good-looking ladies who have no friends. But they are clearly sex bots. And I'm not interested in that, oddly enough. I don't really care. So, don't do it. But send me a message if you want to add me on there. If you want to add us on Back to the 80s, it is at BTTEpod on Twitter. It's facebook.com/BTTEpod on Facebook. You can also look at the Back to the 80s blog for all the podcast posts that we're going to put up, which is backtotheightiespodcast.blogspot.co.uk, and Back to the 80s forum, which is backtotheightees.freeforums.net. Excellent stuff. We shall leave you this week with The Young Ones and Cliff Richard and the comic relief single, Living Doll, the one that Alexi Sale moaned about, even though he'd had a single out and made loads of money the year earlier. Go figure. And we'll be leaving you with a close down this time from HTV Wales, my region, from 1988, and it has double national anthem. It's got God Save the Queen, boo, boring, and it's got obviously Land of My Fathers, yay. So there you go. Leigh, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you later, everybody, on the next episode. Some good episodes coming up. Thanks for listening, as always. Bye-bye for now.
It doesn't matter what you are. Punks, skins, rastas, mords, rockers, Keith Tigrin even. Everybody everywhere, stop smogging and pay attention to me. Cause if you're a wild-eyed loner at the gates of oblivion, then hitch a ride with us. Cause we're riding on the last freedom moped out of nowhere. And we haven't even told our parents what time we're coming home. So, pull on your dancing trousers and get down to the total and utter king of rock and roll, Cliff Richard!
Got myself a crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just cause she's a living doll. Got a rooming eye and that is why she satisfies my soul. I got the one and only
anybody know where the toilets are?
Mike, look, does all this money really have to go to charity?
Yes, it does, Michael. Hi, Cliff, it's me.
Who are you?
Oh, great joke, Your Majesty.
Crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living doll. Got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll. I got a rolling eye and that is why she satisfies my soul.
Satisfies my soul.
Got the one and only walking, talking, living doll.
What does this button do?
Got myself a crying,
Talking,
sleeping,
walking, living doll.
got to do my best to please her just 'cause she's a living doll.
Alright guys, harmonies now.
That is why she satisfies
My soul,
got the one and only walking, talking, living doll. Got the one and only walking, talking.
living doll.
Can I go now?
Right, thanks, Cliff. Right, listen, kids. If you don't buy this record, then you'll all utter.
And now the weather forecast for the HTV Wales area for tonight and tomorrow. It will be a generally cloudy night with some rain in most places and some mist and low cloud in the southwest. Lowest temperatures will be around 14 degrees Celsius, that's 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Tomorrow, after a cloudy start, the north should become bright and dry, but in the south it may well stay cloudy with some occasional rain. Temperatures lower than today's at 19 to 21 degrees Celsius, 66 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, winds light south to southwest. And finally the outlook showery and cooler. Of course that's it for tonight on HTV. Don't forget next Monday, August the 22nd, the start of Nightclub. All the programmes that you've just seen, there's going to be loads for you to keep you entertained right the way through the night. So I shall be there next Monday around 11:30. Hope to see you there as well. Well, now the time is just gone 20 minutes to 1. That's all from HTV Wales. I hope you've enjoyed the programmes for tonight. Until 9:25 and the local news headlines from everyone at HTV, I wish you a very good night.